It's a beautiful day in London today, and I'm lucky enough to sit down with Laurence at Sautter, and we are in his Knightsbridge store. So good morning, Laurence.
Good morning. You may feel you're lucky. By the end of this interview, you may feel you're not quite that lucky.
No, I'm sure I will. Are you good? Keeping well?
I'm absolutely fabulous.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Good.
Things are good. The sun is out, and London's going to be busy soon.
The sun is out, yeah, for now.
Yeah, and London's going to be busy soon.
Yeah, what time do shops open down here? I was walking around this morning thinking everywhere's closed and it's past 9.
Yeah, they don't open until 10.
Okay.
And the other problem that we've got is this week is Easter week. Everyone who's from round here is on holiday.
Yeah, true.
And then we've all our Middle Eastern clients are in bed. They don't get up till 4 o'clock because of Ramadan.
Yeah.
Because they can, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been a quiet couple of weeks, but we're looking for this. The calm is now. The storm is going to come next week.
Nice, nice. So I'm going to ask you that generic question. How did you end up with your little your Sautter cigar empire with 2 stores in London? How did you end up in your position
So
now?
I'm a real estate developer.
Okay.
So I was always based around Mayfair.
Mm-hmm.
So for 15 years I've been shopping every week, 3 times a week at Desmond's. And I only smoked in those days 2 cigars, either a Particle Series D number 4 or a Hoya de Monterey Epicure number 2. And I used to smoke a box and a half a week and save a box and a half and just put it into my storage there. And I said to him after 15 years, you know, Desmond, it's time you think about retirement and I buy the business. And in the way Desmond spoke, he said, dear boy, when I come to sell, you'll be the first. So I said, look, Desmond, I don't believe you, but I'm going to phone you every day until you're ready to sell. So for 10 years, at 10 o'clock every morning, I called Desmond. Every day? Every single day.
Wow, that's commitment.
It was a Victor Kiam sort of situation. You know, with Remington, he liked the shave so much, he bought the company. So after 10 years, one day at 10 o'clock, he answered the phone again. I said, is today the day, Desmond? He said, dear boy, it is.
I bet that took you by surprise.
So I said, what time should we meet at the solicitor's office? He mentioned a price. I said, I'll see you there at 3 o'clock with the banker's draft. At 3 o'clock that afternoon, I go in the banker's draft. We settled on a price of 1 million. And there it was, done and dusted.
Wow.
And I bought the company without looking at any due diligence whatsoever.
Just bought it?
Just bought it. I got to have a look, and there was £775,000 in cash in the bank. And there was stock coming out of its ears and no debts. He didn't owe anyone anything. It was the best deal I've ever done. And then I started finding treasure after treasure after treasure in a cupboard that was sealed. When I say sealed, it was a cupboard that when he redecorated, probably in 1987, they painted over the door, so it didn't open.
You didn't know it was there?
And it was full of vintage cigars.
Wow.
I mean, it was probably the size of one of these cupboards. Full. Completely full. Monte Cristo 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s.
Do you think he forgot it was there?
Completely.
Yeah.
I felt so bad about it. I felt genuinely, you know, some people get remorseful in acquisition. And I got remorseful in acquisition. So I went to Desmond, I said, Desmond, I think I've done too good a deal. Would you like to become a consultant for 3 years at $50,000 a year? And if I need you, I'll ask your advice. And he said yes. And that was really good, actually, because he gave me a lot of good advice.
Yeah.
And he said to me one day, just after I popped my feet under the table, he said, oh dear boy, I occasionally splashed out. and took an advert in the Daily Telegraph. Old Havanas wanted. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So I took. He suggested I did it once a month. I'm a bit impetuous, so I phoned up the Telegraph. I said, look, I want this advert every day for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Just give it a trial. Within 2 weeks, I bought a cabinet of 500 A. Chapman cigars from 1882.
Wow.
I then bought from Lady Londonderry one of the Romeo and Juliet cabinets, which were full of, from the 30s, with Romeo and Juliet cigars, and this lovely letter in there which says, "Dear Dad, I'm off to war.
Oh.
I've taken a bundle, to smoke, and hopefully we can open another bundle together if I manage to get home." And it was just unbelievable. I mean, as you can imagine, those cigars were bought for well worth the money.
Yeah.
I sold about 20 of them at £6,000 each, the A. Chapmans.
Yeah.
And I've got in fact, Simon Chase did this whole big video on it, and I've still got probably 400 left.
Wow. That's amazing. And I suppose you can never finish that story either. You never know if he actually ever came back.
No, I do. He did come back.
Oh, you do?
I did, because I contacted Lady Rose, who was Lady Londonderry's daughter, and I asked the question.
That's really nice.
And I said, look, I'm just intrigued. And he did come back. He died in 1967.
Oh.
So it was a really good story and a really interesting situation.
Wow.
So I really enjoyed it. I'm still a property developer, but this is my passion.
Yeah.
This is what I really enjoy doing.
So going off piste a little bit, talking about passion, it's a link that's close to my heart, is that you used to have horses.
Well, my father started off with a lot of... We used to live in Northamptonshire in a place called Naseby Hall as our summer home, and in London. And both my sisters were international show jumpers. And I didn't quite get on so well at the show jumping. I wasn't really the right physique.
So you did try?
I did try.
Okay.
I wasn't really the right physique for it. But then my father, with a trainer called Andrew Jarvis, had 6 horses in training. And he won the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, Alaska, that was his big win.
Yeah.
And I then took the mantle up as I built a property business. And at one time I had 28 horses in training.
That's mad.
And I had 16 winners.
That's brilliant.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing feeling. I had a winner at Great Yarmouth, funny enough.
Yeah, you said before, didn't you miss it though? Didn't you, weren't you travelling to the actual race course? Yeah, I'm sure I remember something like that.
It's a real difficult course to get to.
Yarmouth is just difficult to get to in general.
And so I missed the race, but I got into the enclosure in time to get the little plate.
Oh, good. So you don't have any horses now?
I don't know. No. Mainly because they let me out of house at home.
Well, yeah.
With the food bills and the vet bills.
Yeah, I can feel that. Yeah, I get that.
And then we had a property crash. And I sort of retired from that because it was costing me something like net 25 grand a month.
Big money. But then you had a lot of horses.
I had a lot of horses.
You could just have a couple now.
I might go into a syndicate.
Yeah.
Then you get the fun for the price of a leg.
Yeah. So did you go to the sales and pick your horses yourself? Yeah.
And one of my biggest clients is a very, very famous divorce lawyer called Raymond Tooth, who's been a prolific breeder, owner of horses. And I've gone racing with him a few times. And he was exactly the opposite to me. He made an absolute fortune out of them. We used to buy them as yearlings, get them going till they were winners at 2-year-olds, sell them on as 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
I made a lot of money. So you've got to know what you're doing. I was never that lucky.
No. Well, you were lucky enough to have winners still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of people who've had that many horses in training and never had a winner.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Obviously, you were onto a winner.
But I had this. What I really enjoyed about it actually was going to watch them take them out in the mornings.
Yeah, when they go out for the training. In the morning,
they go out for the training. You go onto the gallops, and and I had some horses with the Baldwin family. I went to Millfield School, and I was quite friendly with Toby and later with Judith, and I used to go there. We used to get there, see the horses at 5:30, 6 o'clock. Then they used to go out, then used to come in for a breakfast, and they'd tell you when it's running, what your chances are, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And that was really good fun. That was as good a fun as race day.
Watching the racing, yeah.
Yeah, I watched one race day at Newmarket at a horse running, and is it the blonde Baldwin girl took me into the BBC tent, or the caravan, with Willie Carson.
Wow.
And we watched the horse run from inside, and I did some voice over, and my horse finished second, so I was very excited.
Yeah, yeah.
Newmarket, to have a second at Newmarket.
Yeah.
Because you think of, it's a bit like golf, There's one thing to win a club competition at, of course, no one's ever heard of, but to win a golf competition,
like the heart of racing, yeah.
Yeah, but at Newmarket, to have a second, it's like I've made it.
Wow.
So I really enjoyed my time with
you could get a few more horses, and I can try and be a jockey. No, I'm not a race jockey.
No, but there's some great female race jockeys.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I think they're better than men.
Do you?
Yeah, I think they have a better understanding than a lot of them are. On the flat, mainly, because I think that over the jumps it's more of a physical than an emotional relationship. Over the flat, I really do think that it's very much an emotional relationship between the rider and horse. And men tend to, I'm not talking about the top jockeys, I'm talking about, they tend to just take it as a job.
Yeah. But the women are a bit more into the animal and stuff. Yeah.
That's my view. I'll probably be told I'm completely wrong, but that's how I feel.
But anyway, I'm going to stop talking about horses because I can talk about
one last thing. My sister was an international show jumper.
Yeah, actually you did mention that. Yeah, I do jump, but not internationally. I don't think I'm good enough for that.
We were friendly with, at the time, Harvey Smith, David Broom, Ted Edgar. And I remember Liz Edgar, Ted's wife, saying that the reason why women show jumpers did so well was their understanding of horses. There used to be a show jumper called Marion Mould who had a horse called Stroller, and it was unbeatable because they were sort of connected.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I've got some of my horses, I've got 4 now, but they're very much like a me horse. So like other people can ride them, but it's almost like when I get on that we communicate almost telepathically. Yeah. And they're like, how are you doing that? You're not moving. I'm like, I know her so well, and particularly female horses. I know that mares have a bad reputation sometimes for being moody and God knows what, but I found with my mares, I've got 2 mares and 2 geldings, with my mares, like mentally, we are like linked when it comes to when we compete in things. It's weird.
The old adage, a horse and a dog are friends.
Yeah.
As well as companions.
Yeah, you have to get on with them. If not, they're not doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Simple as that. Okay.
And geldings are much better than stallions.
Yeah.
They get really. I have 2 stallions. that I bought because I thought I'd breed something, got to be a cheaper way of doing it. I had one that just fired blanks the whole time. Cost me an absolute fortune.
Oh no.
As I sold him, he then went and became a really fertile animal.
Wow. Well, that was personal then.
He probably didn't like
No, yeah. So
he probably didn't like the cigar smoke either.
No, maybe.
So I started smoking when I didn't smoke anything till I was 21. My grandfather gave me £1,000, and we're talking about 42 years ago. That was a lot of money. If I didn't smoke till I was 21. On my 21st birthday, he gave me a Monte Cristo No. 2, and I smoked it. Almost choked myself. But and I've smoked since that day.
Since you were 21?
Yeah.
Didn't smoke cigarettes or anything before that?
Never smoked a cigarette in my
Just
life.
cigars? Wow.
Never smoked a joint. Had a little flutter once with a shisha pipe in Dubai.
Yeah.
Only to find myself in hospital 3 days later.
Oh no.
With a chest infection, so I'll never try.
So you're blaming the shisha for that?
Obviously I was inhaling or doing something.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So on the subject of cigars, I know initially probably when you first started your business and stuff, it was very Cuban orientated?
Up until 18 months before COVID, I never had a non-Cuban in my shops.
And what was the reason? I'm not going to take offence, but what was the reason for that?
I didn't like them.
Okay.
And I've been to America maybe 100 times, and I tried everything. I tried the Monte Cristos out there, the Romeos, the Rocky Patels, and then one day, a little guy who we all know, who does some amazing work with me on the writing and on some videos I called Nick Hammond, said, I want you to meet Scott Vines. So I said, well, that's very interesting because I've just been offered the ability to open a Holland and Holland, and it's owned by the Chanel, the Versteimer family, and they won't allow Cuban cigars there.
Okay.
So we met with Scott, we got on famously, and I started my journey into learning about non-Cuban cigars. Even to the extent that I started to like some of them. And I must be honest, there's only probably 10, 12 cigars that I like. I find a lot of non-Cubans very, very one track. It's like it is what it is at the beginning and it's the same as it is at the end. Whereas I felt a lot of Cuban cigars actually told me a story right the way through.
Okay.
All right, you had a start, a middle and an end. And then I got turned on to some brands like my father, like Bill Johnson at Tatuaje, like the Gomez's at the Flora Dominicana, and especially some of the cigars that came, like the Numero Uno that came out of Juan Martinez's Joya de Nicaragua. And suddenly I found that some cigars that I really liked, the prices were great. The best thing about what I found was the availability.
Yeah.
Because since 2014, really we've been in a state of Cuban never delivering on what it promises, and therefore us always being in and out of different parts of stock, and then suddenly we've got something where there is a plentiful supply. And then I started working with Pete Johnson and started blending some. So I went off and spent a lot of time in Miami, and we brought in this cigar that you're smoking now. That's called the Tatuaje No. 1. Around the world later this year, that will be the Sautter No. 1. This is the 4. We're launching that in September in the United States together. And over here, unfortunately, it won't be available as Sautter because you can't co-brand. You know, I put Sautter on anything I can. You can't co-brand with that. So we're either going to keep it as Tatuaje, or we're thinking of another brand for the UK market that I don't put on ashtrays and humidors and whiskey, rum and the rest of it. So, and I've built up an amazing relationship, I think, with Scott.
Yeah.
And I'm loving some of his brands. Others of them I can't sell. I'm in a very, very upmarket London community.
Yeah.
So I've got very specific taste requirements. We sell Padron very well.
Yeah.
We sell My Father very well. We sell Tatuaje well. We sell Padoma well. We sell Hoya well. But there's certain brands that we just can't. I'm not going to name them.
Do you think some of that is still a stigma, a little bit, or an age generation thing?
No, I think it is a complete lack of understanding by the cigar brands on the amount of content that they put out and information.
Okay.
Right, if you go and Google Cohiba Robustas, you'll find 1,000 articles on it. If you go and Google a New World brand, you'll find a lot less. And the power of marketing is, I hate the word New World. The world.
Yeah.
All right, it doesn't really, people don't really understand that Nicaragua is the largest cigar maker in the world.
Massive.
I think it does 5 or 6 times what Cuba makes. Right, and within there's a variance between, in the States, a $4 cigar and a $45 cigar. And that information is not out there in the same manner as it is with Cuba. Maybe because it's a mature industry.
Yeah, I think so. I think we obviously, and I personally, obviously that's my job to try and educate and inform and to market New World brands, not just the cigar. I think with New World brands we try and educate on the story. So a lot of the companies, most of the companies, I think if not all of them that Tor work with are like family owned, and actually most of them have a Cuban heritage, so they've had to leave Cuba for whatever reason, sometimes sad reasons, but we're in the process, and I think we're getting there, in trying to push and sort of educate more of the knowledge side of things and the stories.
You're educating the retailers.
Yeah, and then it's up to the retailers.
The retailers, let's be honest about it, are not good at passing that information.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of a handful of retailers that do YouTube videos. Right.
And your live Instagram videos and things.
A live Instagram, I would say 48 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes Nitz goes missing, so we miss it. Occasionally I have, but only occasionally. But we also do cigar training.
Yeah.
So and at the moment that's Cuban, and I was working with one of your predecessors, Ricardo, to do a training program where we would do it on a Saturday morning for 2.5 hours on New World cigars. And that's an education. You see, when you get somebody in, they want to know.
Yeah.
Right, a cigar, whether it's a £100 cigar or a £10 cigar, to the person who's smoking it, that's a hell of an investment.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not only an investment in money, but it's an investment in time.
Of course it is, yeah.
And they need to know, they want to know where it came from, how it came, what is it that makes it different.
Basically why, isn't it? Like why should they invest in that monetary and
rather
time?
Than something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a very famous client who's a major New York heart surgeon who buys 2 boxes of cigars off me every month at the very high end. And I asked him once, he was in my shop, I said, "Doctor, why are you smoking cigars? Everyone says smoking's bad for you." He said, "Laurence, when you have someone's heart in your hands, all right, for 4 hours doing a heart transplant," he says, "you come out of there," he says, "there is nothing more stressful, and the only thing that de-stresses me is a cigar." He said, "And stress is a bigger killer, all right, in both the heart and cancer than anything else we're dealing with." And one of the big things that he says is that he knows other surgeons that are drinking very heavily.
Yeah, just
taking recreational drugs very heavily.
Yeah.
Or driving their car at 100 miles an hour to try and come down from that high.
Yeah.
And he says, I think I enjoy mine the most.
Yeah.
So we do not get, the world has become like a concertina. All right. Before, when I was first in the property business, I'd write a letter that would take probably 2 days to write, because you had to get it pitch perfect and it had to be eloquent but deliver everything you wanted to know. And that letter would go off to the vendor. I'd consider it for a few days and he'd write back to you, and over the period of 10 weeks you would suddenly get somewhere. Now you get an email with the property, best bids 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
The whole world is concertinaed, the whole process of everything. All right, and instead of it being please and thank you, it's the word is now.
Yeah.
It's all now. You can't hide behind an email or a WhatsApp message, because the bloody thing gives you 2 blue ticks. All right, you've read it.
Yeah.
All right, why haven't you answered it?
Yeah.
All right, I haven't even managed to work out what the answer should be.
You can turn that off, by the way, but maybe we'll leave it on.
But the people at the other end are expecting a reply now. Why hasn't he answered? You know? And the only time you really get to I feel that I get for myself is when I sit down, whether it be early in the morning. I start normally at 5 a.m. and I get up and have my first cigar at 5:30, all right, with a cup of coffee. All right, and then I've got thought time.
It's you time, yeah.
And I have to do it, and I do it at that time because I know nobody's going to be able to get hold of me at that time.
Yeah.
No one else is going to be up.
Yeah.
All right, and that's one of the big problems that I think cigar smoking solves, because you sit down, you have a cigar, all right, and you come out of that zone of where everything is in the immediacy of the moment. You calm down. I think of my best ideas when I'm smoking a cigar.
Because it's just you're in your own
I get my
thoughts.
time to think.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is, you know, just like buy now on apps and on emails. You know, people used to think, I like that jacket. Maybe I'll go back next week. Well, it's sold out now, because you've got to press that buy now button. All right, and it'll, you know, and it'll tell you how many other people are looking at the same jacket. All right, so it creates this. And my kids don't know any better. All right, you know, they've been brought up in this world where everything has immediacy.
Yeah.
So they phone Dad and say, why didn't you answer me? I asked you a question, why didn't you answer? 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So cigars is that one area that takes you out of it. So we've got a shop, we've got a lounge, we're opening a couple of other lounges in the not too distant future. We've got a couple of franchises overseas. We're growing it. We're looking to grow it into the United States. We're about to agree a big licensing deal on some outside venues in the US, where we'll be creating our own cigars. And I think the world of cigars, if the legislators keep their distance, will be fine.
I was about to ask you, what have you got planned in the future, and you telepathically answered me then. So
I knew what you were saying.
You knew what I was going to say, yeah.
Absolutely.
You were reading me. So Laurence, with all of your London and cigar experience, where do you see the cigar market going now?
I think you've got a more intuitive cigar smoker coming out of the youth.
Yeah.
So you're getting the 25 to 35 year olds that are really enjoying their cigars. They understand this unbelievable pleasure of relaxation. Their own time where they can sit, they can play with their phone, they can do with what they want to do, smoke a cigar, having a drink, whether that drink be a whiskey or a coffee. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
All right, but it's their time, and I think that what's happening is we're getting a much more discerning group of people coming in, learning, trying, and their thirst for knowledge is immense.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm very excited about the fact that it's not just older people that are smoking.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot more women smoking, which really...
A lot more women smoking, yeah, that's
which
something
is
that's
really,
obviously...
really good.
Yeah.
One of my top clients comes in with his wife.
And they both enjoy cigars.
They both enjoy cigars, and they talk about cigars together, and you know, it's a passion that they can share.
Yeah.
And I think the world is coming to a situation where this isn't like smoking cigarettes, all right? This is an education, all right, in what they're smoking, because of the level of investment that's going into it.
Yeah.
You know, even a non-Cuban cigar, there aren't many under £20 now because of the taxes.
Yeah.
So people really want to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
All right, and I think that's the same with whiskey and rum and tequila, that the world likes to have the knowledge, whereas 30 years ago they'd just go in and say Scotch and Coke.
Yeah.
All right, and whatever went into the glass went into the glass. They didn't care if it was Bell's, Famous Grouse, or Teachers. It was Scotch and Coke. Now they're coming in and they're saying, I'd like a Jack and Coke, or I'd like a single malt and an aged statement on it. So that's where I think the world is going.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of younger smokers. I think when I first started the cigar industry, I was 24, I think, and obviously I'm 32 now. But obviously there's younger staff going into retail stores, but there's staff that are genuinely interested. And then what I have seen, or I think I pick up because I'm a cigar smoker, is famous people dipping into the world of cigars and spirits. So you've got like influential celebrities bringing their own brand of tequila out and things like that. And I think I guess it's kind of promotion without obviously pushing it, but there's younger people that are willing to, like you said, they want to learn about it. They're not also going on stereotypical things. So like, I don't want to keep talking about Cuban versus New World because it's not like that, but they're not coming into the industry and just being like, oh, Cuban cigars. They're walking into a humidor and they're asking staff, or they're asking friends, or they're asking people, okay, why, like what we discussed earlier, like why that cigar, and like you can tell them a story about it and things like that. So I think they're a little bit more open-minded, the younger generation.
They are, and they get whether they like medium, mild, strong, spicy. They want to learn about all of it, not just Cuban, not just Nicaraguan, all of it.
Yeah.
And that's great. And the celebrity, watch this space for a celebrity cigar to come out.
Okay.
It's imminent somewhere.
Do you know this, or are you predicting it?
I know it, and I've been predicting it.
Okay, fine.
Right? And it is happening, and it's going to be very influential.
All the knowledge, all of the knowledge.
You know, what people really want is they want, and I think the whole celebrity world is a bit screwed up.
Yeah.
All right. But certainly in alcohol terms, it's really made a difference.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I keep seeing them pop up, and every time you scroll or something, you see...
You know, Ricky Gervais has just brought out a vodka.
Has he?
Yeah, it's called Dutch Barn.
That's cool.
I had the financing sheet on it a couple of weeks ago. You know, and already it's in Waitrose. It's only launched in no time.
Yeah.
The route to market with a celebrity is quick.
Well, they've already got so much.
No, but the retailer can't say no.
Yeah.
All right. George Clooney, when he did Nescafe. Okay, Nescafe was a brand, but suddenly every single retailer had to have it.
Yeah.
And by having to have it, whereas before 5 years ago, all right, Tor never knocked on my door at Mount Street, all here. Davidoff never knocked on my door. It was me who had to go after them.
Yeah.
The world's changed. It's moved. And influencers do influence.
Yeah.
Sometimes not on what you think is right. But in a lot of instances,
they make a difference.
They make a difference.
Yeah.
So wait for that celebrity cigar to come out.
I will, yeah. You've predicted it now.
Yeah. It will be at some point.
This year?
This year.
This year.
Without any shadow of a doubt.
Okay.
They've already determined they like the cigar that's been made for them.
Will you have it in your stores?
I would like to think so.
Okay. Watch this space.
Callie, thank you so much.
No, thank you for your time. I'm honoured. YouTube celeb star.
Yeah.
That's what I aspire to be.
Some celeb star.
Yeah, I know. So we'll sit
I have
back
had some interesting comments.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're always going to get trolls though.
No, I always get the interesting comments as to why I don't smoke the cigar and I chew it and mutilate it.
So what's the answer to that?
Look, cigar's quite expensive. You've got to enjoy the smoke and also the taste of the tobacco.
Yeah.
I enjoy chewing it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, like my son, you wouldn't even know he smoked it when it gets down to the end. Different strokes for different folks.
Everyone does something different. I think I've had comments on mine before that I char the cigar, I toast it, whether it's just how I've always lit them.
Absolutely.
Just do you. I think when you first start cigar smoking, we're going off piste again now. When you first start cigar smoking, you learn about like the etiquette and how you should cut and lighten, but you end up finding your own path, your own thing.
Probably the biggest question I get asked is, band on or band off?
Well, it's still on that one.
Yeah, I'll take it off when I feel it's right.
When you get to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When it annoys my mouth.
Okay.
Because I can start tasting the band.
Or is it burning at this point? Fair.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much.
No, thank you.